Good afternoon and a very good day everyone. So welcome back to our lecture class. So for this week lecture is on our chapter 2, and this chapter 2 is about marker based and also location based AR. Okay, so let's find out what is marker based and what is location based AR. There are two learning outcomes that you should be achieved and also you should be gained after the end of this chapter. First is to understand the different type of marker-based and also location-based augmented reality, and also to study about the detection and also tracking technique in augmented reality. Okay, so you need to ensure that you should achieve these two learning outcomes. Okay, to understand the different type of marker-based and also location-based, and also to know and understand about the detection and also tracking technique in augmented reality. Okay, before we go into the details of the type of marker, so let's have some basic understanding of what is marker concept in augmented reality. Okay, we often call this as a augmented reality marker, or in short, we can call this as a AR marker. Okay, so basically this AR marker is referred to the visual cues which will trigger the display of the virtual information. Okay, this marker is basically it's just a normal image. Okay, like I show in this slide. Okay, it's just a normal image or a small object which are trained beforehand so that they can be recognized later in the camera stream. Okay, after a marker is recognized, its position, scale, rotation, and so on will be derived from these visual cues. Okay, and will be transferred to the virtual information. Okay. So this one is just an example. Okay, this marker is image target. Okay, this is a normal marker. Okay, AR marker is just like a black border here, and then there is a pictures or simple image in the middle of this AR marker. Okay, so I just want to give you some explanation. Okay, what is AR marker? Okay, is basically is referred to the visual cue which will trigger the display of the virtual information on top of this AR marker. So let's look into the marker type. Okay, how many type of marker that we have? Okay, so basically we have three marker type. Okay, three type of marker here. Okay, the first one is a template marker. The second type of marker is a 2D barcode marker, and the third one is imperceptible marker. Okay, whether you want to use it as a template marker, as a 2D barcode marker, or imperceptible marker. Okay, so let's look into this type of marker one by one by the template marker first. Let's look into the first type of AR markers, which is we can name this as a template markers. Okay, the first type of AR marker is template marker. So what this template marker means? Okay, basically when it's come to the word template, it means it have the format already, and basically these template markers are black and white colors. Okay, using black and white colors, and then they have the simple image inside this black border. Okay, so here are the two image provided in this slide. Okay, the first marker, and then this one is the second marker. Okay, and then basically these template markers come with the black border. Okay, this one is a black border, and then there is a white area inside here, and then this is the image inside. This is the star image. Okay, same like this second one. Okay, second template markers is come with the black border, and then there is a simple image in the middle of this template markers. The second type of AR markers is the 2D barcode markers. Okay, this means this marker is using a 2D barcode as an image. Okay, is using this as a detection for the camera stream. Okay, and basically these 2D barcode markers are the markers or the image target that consists of a black and white data cells and possibly a border or other landmarks. Okay, if you look into this figure here, there are two samples of the AR marker. Okay, on the left hand side is a simple binary marker. Okay, this one is the simple binary marker, while the second one is the example of the binary data marker. Okay, binary data marker. So this two image is representing the example of the markers that use a 2D barcode. Okay, and basically when the users or the developer use this 2D barcode, okay, and the detection system for this kind of 2D barcode is typically use the decoding algorithm, okay, which is the data will be encoded in this marker. Okay, the data is encoded in this type or this pattern of this barcode. Okay, and then this kind of decoding algorithm do not need such a database. Okay, they do not need a database because the content of a data marker inside here sometimes can be unforeseeable. It means it cannot be seen, for example, as a URL, as a tag, and etc. Okay, as a content. And the third type of AR markers is the imperceptible markers. Okay, so what is imperceptible here? Imperceptible means is that something that is difficult to perceive by our mind. Okay, so the markers is provide a convenient way for post calculation. Okay, because when we have a visual markers, it will help for the camera stream to calculate for the pose, but in certain way or certain environments we don't need these visual markers anymore. Okay, the system can use markers that are invisible, okay, something that we cannot see to our using our human eye, but actually it can be detected by a machine. Okay, and there are three possibilities under these imperceptible markers, which is the first one is image markers, invisible markers or infrared markers, and also the third one is the miniature markers. Okay, so let's find out these three type of imperceptible markers. Okay, image markers. Okay, what is image markers? Like I showed to you previously, the example that I show is basically just a black and white markers. But basically, a marker system can use a natural color or natural image as a markers. Okay, can use the colors markers, not only black and white. And these image markers is basically have a frame or any other landmarks, okay, to aid the detection or to help for the camera detection and for the calculation of the pose, but these are not necessary. Okay, this one is not compulsory. Okay, and basically these image markers can be identified using a template or the feature matching. Okay, if you look into these three markers down here, the first one is the frame marker on the left. Okay, if you see at these markers, it have the frame around of this square marker here, and in the middle is the split marker. Okay, it have called this as the split markers because it's only have the border on top and also the border in the middle. No, sorry, in down here, and there is an image in the middle of here. And then the third markers is called as a dot marker. Okay, because it's used this all the dot here, it will become the detection, okay, or for the post calculation based on this dot marker. Here is the example of the natural image detection. Okay, why they call this as a natural image? Because they use the current image or the natural image that available in the real world. Okay, for example, here if you can see there is an animated character is augmented on top of a book. Okay, so basically this is the virtual object. Okay, this is the animated character as a virtual object, and this is the book. Okay, the book cover here is a real book or physical books. Okay, and then this detection is based on the features in the cover image. Okay, so basically this cover book, okay, we use as markers that can be detected by the camera, so that when the camera detect this pattern on top of this book, it will augment or it will pop up this animated character on top of this. Okay, they call this as a natural image because it's used the image that available in our real world, which is in this case is the cover books. Okay, this cover image on the books. Beside visual markers, we also have the markers that embedded the infrared technology as the markers. Okay, and basically the infrared light has a wavelength in a range of 750 to 1 mm. Okay, and basically it is greater than the visible light spectrum, which is fall under the range of 380 to 770 nanometer, and is therefore invisible to the human eye. Okay, because this visible light spectrum is too high, so we cannot see that using our eye. Okay, it cannot be seen by using our naked eye. And this is the examples of the projected infrared markers for maintenance work. Okay, if you can see on the left hand side is the scene camera view. Okay, how it look like this. And on the right hand side here is tracking which use the infrared camera view. Alright, the next one is about the miniature markers. Okay, first of all, miniature here means that something that is representing by the smaller scale. Okay, something that is can be representing by a smaller scale. So here there are two pictures here: in focus photograph and also out of focus photograph. Okay, in focus photograph here, you will see there is a traditional barcode here. Okay, this one is a traditional barcode. We have the size of is around 30 mm, and then we have the barcode here. Okay, the barcode here is the size is around 3 mm. Okay, smaller size. So basically, this barcode marker look like a tiny dot. When we see it using our human eye, we will see that it is a very small dot. Okay, on the left hand side here, but even though it have a tiny dot, but the camera is able to see the content in this out of focus mode on the right hand side. Okay, we cannot see it, but the camera still can read and then see the content inside this tiny dot or this barcode. Okay, since now we already know the certain type of markers, okay, we know that we have several type of markers. So how to actually select the suitable marker types based on the system of the AR that we want to develop. Okay, so here this table will suggest us with the suitable marker type depending on the system requirement. Okay, so let's look into this recommendation by this table. Okay, using appropriate visual marker type. So if your system requirement, okay, your system or is your AR application need to be able to read the unforeseen data, okay, for example a URL to download a model and so on. So the suitable marker type is the data markers. Okay, this one is an application that need to read the data that cannot be seen. Okay, for example a URL. So the suitable marker type is data markers. Okay, data markers. Each if the system requirement require each marker will need to contain a great amount of data. Okay, if we have a lot and a very rich of data, so it is suggested to use the template or ID markers with a database or a data markers. Okay, and if the application will need a large set of markers, okay, we need more than one markers or many markers or a large set of markers, so it is suggested to use a data markers. If the visual appearance is an issue, okay, if your visual appearance is the issue, so here are a few suitable marker types that we can use. First one is in terms of the template. Okay, template markers with several suitable design. The image markers, invisible markers, watermarking markers, embedded markers to other content by design or new marker type design. Okay, or if an ID is enough, okay, the ID is enough, so the suitable marker type is the image marker or ID markers or a small data markers. Okay, or if you are develop a system that is can detect from a long distance. Okay, so the suitable marker type to use is the template markers with a clear design. Okay, because if we need to detect in a long distance, okay, so make sure that the template markers have a clear design, or can be used ID markers with a big physical cell size. Okay, and if you need to develop a system that require environment where the visual markers are unwanted, okay, so we can use existing signs, existing image or invisible markers. Okay, so here are the recommendation for appropriate visual marker types. Okay, depends on the system requirement that we need to develop. So here are the suggestion marker type. Alright, now we already have some basic ideas on the AR marker type. So let's understand more about this marker detection. Okay, how this marker was detected, how it was working, and so on. Okay, in terms of the marker detection, okay, a good marker Okay, a good marker is easily and also reliably detectable under all circumstances. Okay, so whatever designs our marker is, so we need to bear in mind that we need to come up with a marker that is easy to be detected. Okay, even though it's fall under any circumstances or any reason. Okay, so based on this statement, differences in luminance or brightness are more easily detected than differences in chrominance or colors using machine vision techniques. Okay, so the markers that we produce, okay, it is better to have a differences in term of brightness compared to the differences in term of the colors. Okay, because it will be more easily detected if we have a differences in term of brightness compared to the differences in term of the colors. Okay, and the system should also be able to calculate the pose of the camera using the detected markers, and therefore many of the marker system use black and white square markers. Okay, because the system will need to calculate the pose of the camera using any detected markers, so many of the markers will actually or basically use only a black and white square markers only. Okay, let's look into this procedure. Okay, this one is showing the procedure for the marker detection. Okay, marker detection procedure. So basically, the first step is start with the image acquisition. Okay, we need to get the details of the image, whether the image have the certain intensity, the in-depth, okay, the brightness, and so on of the image of the markers. And then once we done with the required image acquisition, we go to the step number 2, which is pre-processing. Okay, the pre-processing. So basically under this pre-processing procedure, so it will involve the low-level image processing, okay, and distortion, and then we will perform the line detection and line fitting. Okay, we detect the line and we fit the line, and then you also will perform the detection of the corners of the markers. Okay, we detect and then trying to find the corners of the markers. Okay, the four corners of the markers. And then step number 3, okay, it will go for the detection of the potential markers, and then we remove or discard of obvious non-markers. Okay, so in this step or in this method, it will perform the fast rejection of obvious non-markers. So anything that is not belong to the markers or non-markers, of course, it will be directly perform the rejection. And then is also will perform the fast acceptance test for potential markers. Okay, so it will detect whether this is the markers or non-markers. Okay, if non-markers, then is directly reject, and then if test and then it is the markers, and then it will perform the acceptance. Okay, and then step number 4 is identification and decoding of markers. Okay, and then in this step they will identify and decode the markers by looking into the template. Okay, by perform the template matching if it refer to the template markers, and it's also we perform the decoding. Okay, if this one is refer to the data markers. And then on the 5th step, the last step is on the marker pose calculation. Okay, it will calculate the pose of the markers, and then inside this step it will estimate of marker pose. It will perform the calculation, and then it will estimate of the marker pose of the coordinate and so on. And then it also will perform the iterative pose calculation for accurate pose. Okay, it will keep on calculate the pose to get the accurate or the pose. Okay, where is that's refer to the accurate pose or accurate coordinate of that markers. Like I mentioned before, that the marker tracking procedure is involved pre-processing. Okay, so basically what happened inside this pre-processing is that the first job or the first task of the marker detection process is to look for or to find the boundaries of the potential markers. Okay, this process, okay, will look to the boundaries of the potential markers, and the detection system will use two approach. Okay, whether the first threshold an image and search for markers from the binary image, or they detect the edges from a grayscale image. Okay, they will use two approach or two method. Okay, the first one is the threshold an image and search for markers from the binary image, and then the second one they will detect the edges from a grayscale image. Edges is mean the bucu. Okay. Okay, so this is the example of this edge detection. Okay, based on this left hand side figure here, the edge contour will be detected on the threshold image. Okay, it is detected on the threshold image. There are superimposed onto the original image with red. Okay, so it's gonna test on this three item here. Okay, on this pen, on these markers, and also on these circles. Okay, and then based on this right hand side figure here, this only show the remaining edges after applying the four corner test and size test. Okay, so based on this four corner test and size test, so they detect that only this is the markers because it have four corners and also the size is acceptable. And this is the example of the detected markers. Okay, so basically the markers will have the coordinate system of x, y, and z. Okay, because the typically or usually the 3D object will be used as a virtual object on top of these markers. So it's representing by the x coordinate, y coordinate, and also z coordinate. This is rendered with the three RGB color, which is red, green, and also blue, which is the red is representing by the x-axis, green is by the y-axis, and also the blue one is representing as a z-axis. And this is what happened. Okay, this is what happened inside the fast acceptance and also rejection test for the potential markers. Okay, so how they want to perform this, how they want to determine, okay, or to detect what to accept, also what to reject. Okay, so let's look into this description down here. Okay, the system need to pay attention to the areas inside of a markers. Okay, so we need to look into the areas inside the markers and make sure that it does not remove part or cell belonging to a markers. Okay, the marker on the left, okay, let's look into this left markers here, has exactly one hole. Okay, exactly one hole means only one white area which is inside here. Okay, one white area, and the marker in the middle has three holes. That means it have three white area. Okay, one white area here, one white area here, and also one white area here. So there are three white area here. And the marker on the right is an example of a binary marker with numerous strong edges. Okay, why it says it have a strong edges? Because it have a lot of white area. Okay, it have a lot of binary markers with very strong edges. Okay, because it have a lot of unique pattern inside here. So a system will use this kind of knowledge, okay, for fast acceptance and also rejection test. Okay, you're gonna test whether to accept this or to reject that or not. Okay, based on this pattern and so on. When we talk about marker pose, so basically the pose of a marker or the pose of an object is basically refer to its location and also orientation. Okay, how it will be locate, okay, where it will be located, and so how it gonna be position or orientation. And basically this location can be expressed with the three translation coordinate. Okay, it can be translated into three coordinate, which is x, y, and z, because it's involved three dimension. And also the orientation is have three rotation angle. Okay, based on the figure up here, is about to rotate around z axis. Okay, and then this one is rotate around y axis and rotate around x axis. Okay, there are three coordinates here for the marker. Here, there are three recommendations given to us in order to speed up the marker detection process. Okay, how to speed up or faster the detection process. The first recommendation is about the frames. Okay, the marker that come with the frame are easier and faster to detect. Okay, so make sure that the markers are that have a frame. Okay, so that is easier to be detected and faster to be detected. And also have pay attention also into the process of the acceptance and also rejection test in all the phases. And also it is suggested to use the small data size as well, so that it can avoid the redundant data. Okay, so here are the three recommendations for us in order to speed up the marker detection process. Okay, now let's look into the first type of marker, which is marker-based tracking.